Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Brawley City Council and successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency. Regular meeting for Tuesday, May 5th at 6 p.m. We can have the roll call, please.
The minutes will reflect all council members present.
Our invocation by Council Member Don Campbell, please. You can please rise.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we just come before you today, Father, and Father, we thank you so much for your many blessings, and Father, we thank you so much for your willingness to forgive us for our sins, Father. And Father, we lift our churches up to you today and our pastors, Father, and Father, we lift our public safety employees up to you today, Father, for the tough job that they have to do, Father, with everything that's going on, Father. We ask that you watch over and protect them, Father, and keep them blessed, keep them healthy, Father. And Father, we just ask that you watch over this meeting and help us make decisions, Father, that's going to be pleasing to you, Father. And we just ask that there's someone here, Father, today that's not feeling well, that you touch them, Father, and get them through their hard times. And Father, we thank you so much for our employees and all the work that they do, Father, for the citizens of the city of Brawley. And we thank you just so much that all the things that you do for us, Father. And we thank you so much for your son, Father, and one day that we will meet again face to face. And Father, the song says, one day in your court is better than 1,000 days elsewhere. And I truly believe that, Father. And we thank you so much, and we ask for your mercy this evening. We ask all these things in your son's precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Councilmember Campbell. Councilmember Noriega, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Yes. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
There's a motion. Second. Is there a second? There's a second. Any discussion? Any questions, comments? None? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Move on to item number 2, public appearances and comments. Not to exceed 4 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. The mayor will recognize you when you come to the microphone. Please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. Is there anyone who would like to make a public appearance or has a comment? If you could please come up. Yes.
Gil Reblar. Do I say my address? No. Anyway, I'm from the Imperial. I work with the Imperial County Area Agency on Aging. I just want to thank Rosanna Brown-Moore, Pat Dorsey, and Tanya Fernandez for participating in this year's senior directory. We put out directory. It's a free resource guide for seniors, and this year we got the cities involved, and Brawley got the ball rolling. So I just want to thank Mrs. Moore, Ms. Brown-Moore, and the council and the city for being involved in this resource guide. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
for your
Thank
comment.
you.
Is there anyone else who would like to make a public appearance or has a comment? Seeing none? So there's none? Seeing none, we're going to move on to item 2A. That's proclamation declaring May 2015 as Veterans Appreciation Month presented to Len McAllister, EDD, Local Veterans Employment Representative. Mr. McAllister?
He's here.
There he is. Okay, fantastic.
Yes, he is.
And I will read the proclamation in honor of Veterans Appreciation Month. Whereas the people of Imperial Valley appreciate and admire the thousands of men and women who served in the armed forces to protect and preserve their country and the freedoms enjoyed by all Americans, and whereas in war, international conflicts, and peacekeeping missions, men and women have been wounded, taken as prisoners, and died in the line of duty. And whereas veterans possess a wide variety of valuable qualities, including experience, maturity, leadership, and loyalty, that make them ideal candidates for employment. And whereas the City of Brawley is committed to ensuring that veterans receive the services and programs to which they are entitled, and to promoting employer interest in hiring veterans. And whereas during Veterans Appreciation Month, state and local agencies increase employer awareness about the benefits of hiring veterans. And now therefore, the City of Brawley does hereby proclaim May 2015 as Veterans Appreciation Month in the City of Brawley. I witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Brawley to be affixed on this 5th day of May 2015. George Nava, Mayor. So congratulations, and thank you very much.
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations. Sure. Share some comments with us.
Sure. As I said, 4 minutes, right?
You got your time. You've got all night. All right.
Sure. Well, good evening, Mayor, council members, and those in attendance. I appreciate you declaring this month as Veteran Appreciation Month for Brawley. We're picking these up for Imperial County and for all the other cities in Imperial County as well. Again, my name is Lynn McAllister. What I am is a local vet rep here in the county, and I help veterans find employment, or we do our best to. And it's always good to see that the community support us with gestures such as these. But I ask that you share with veterans that you come across that are looking for work that are on their own, or any type of assistance, whether it be medical assistance, housing assistance, workforce services. Please send them our way. What we have a habit of trying to do is what we say is help them find careers instead of just jobs. We do have a Veteran Appreciation ceremony that's going on May the 12th that veterans are invited to. We're going to be actually honoring one of our local employers, AOC. They received the California Employee Advisory Council's Employee of the Year for Imperial County. So it's our second year actually winning this award. Last year, IAD won it. So that shows that there are employers that are hiring veterans here in the county. We tell veterans all the time, you know, I mean, everyone wants to work law enforcement or some of those higher paying federal jobs. But you know what? We've got the ag industry, we've got the fish hatcheries, we've got the gold mines. But you don't find that information out by staying at home and by not networking. And it's important we teach our veterans to do that. So if you know a veteran, please share information about EDD. Please share information about our ceremony on the 12th. And again, we appreciate that you all recognizing the month of May as Veteran Appreciation Month.
Mr. McAllister, thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate it, and we appreciate you having you here. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it.
And you have flyers that you're going to leave here?
Yes, ma'am. I have some, and I have also shared some with the Commerce as well. So I have 2 here, so I was going to share, but I only brought 2.
It's okay. We'll share with him.
We'll make some copies.
We'll have Alma share with him. Okay.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
We'll move on to item 2B, introduction of Sylvia Olvera, Brawley Wastewater Treatment Plant Lab Analyst.
Hi, good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council members. Yasmin Arellano, Public Works Director. I'm very proud tonight to present to you our latest technical addition to the Public Works Department, Ms. Sylvia Olvera. Sylvia Olvera joins us. She studied a couple of years of industrial engineering at Universidad Autónoma in Mexicali. Then she continued her studies at Imperial Valley College, where she obtained a certificate in water and wastewater treatment technologies, specialized in wastewater. She also worked with us as a volunteer during this time at IVC for 2 years, before being employed as a temporary worker for 3 months as an OIT, as an operator in training. I'm very proud to present to you Ms. Sylvia Olvera, lab analyst. She has a certificate as a wastewater operator grade 1 and also as a lab analyst grade 1, and she's working on her grade 2 certification.
Fantastic.
Good evening. I just want to thank you for the support for Public Works and wastewater plant for opening the laboratory, and we're working hard to get the get the laboratory certificate as soon as possible. And I'm at your disposition wherever you need to know.
Well, thank you very much. Welcome to the City of Brawley, and I know you'll be successful, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Items are approved by one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately at a time determined by the mayor.
Mayor Nava, I apologize for the interruption. We do have one public comment that came in after your announcement, and before we proceed with consent agenda, it's requested that Ms. Charlotte Teeters might have a moment to address the council if you'll permit it.
We will move on with consent agenda item 3A in just a minute. Ms. Teeters?
I apologize. I was in Holtville at my stepdaughter's softball game. I was trying really hard.
Did they win or did they lose?
They won, actually. I was so. That's why I wasn't staying.
There you go.
I just wanted to come today and give you an update on the Film Commission and what we've been up to and what we've been busy. That's for sure. This fiscal year so far, we've had 47 tracked projects, and that equates to an estimated economic impact of $1.9 million for the county this year, and we're averaging 4.7 productions per month. That does include the Arms and the Dudes, which is the Warner Brothers feature that was filming all over the county 2 weeks ago for 10 days. It doesn't include the Hyundai commercial, which shot last week around Brawley. And I wanted to say thank you to the staff for for expediting those requests and helping them out. And your city staff did a wonderful job, and I just want to say thank you for that. And for, as we all know, filming, it runs on a different time schedule than most people, and I really appreciate the timely response and the help with that. Also, this week, you will see production vehicles by droves coming through Brawley. We do have the Bad Batch, which starts filming this week. It also films next week. It is a total of 10 days of shoot. They will be in the Salton Sea area, but they are all staying in Brawley. And they'll be eating in Brawley, and they'll be they'll be purchasing in Brawley. The construction crew has been here for almost 2 weeks, so you have had quite a few room nights already taken up, and people, I took some of the crew out last night to dinner, so they're eating in local restaurants. Also for Arms and the Dudes, the construction and art crew stayed in Brawley, and then again, that was quite a few rooms and restaurants and all kinds of things happening here. So it has been a really busy time. I don't have numbers on the Bad Batch yet, but it will be a significant impact to Imperial County.
And just so everybody knows what the Bad Batch is, can you give the...
Okay. It is, yeah, it's about cookies.
Right?
It is a post-apocalyptic film that is centered in a commune of cannibals. Yes. So
that's why I wanted you to say.
Yes, you wanted me to bring up the cannibals. It is, and I'm totally going to forget the director's name. I've been talking about her all week, but I can't remember her name now. She's an up-and-coming director. This is a very watched film at the moment. See how it does in the box office. It does star Keanu Reeves, Jim Carrey, and Jason Momoa. If you watch Game of Thrones, you know who he is. So if you see them around, just say hello and leave them be. So busy week coming up. But I just wanted to come say hi, invite you to Pitch Perfect. We're doing a premiere party for that on the May 13th. And we're also doing a family-free movie night out the Barbara Worth on the 29th of May. We'll be showing Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's free.
May 13th is where?
May 13th is at the Cinemark, and you will be getting your tickets for that.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for that update. We appreciate it.
Any questions?
Sounds good.
I just have a comment, Mr. Mayor, if I could also. Recently, I want to say, well, recently, about a year and a half ago, one of my volunteer organizations I'm a part of joined the Film Commission, and I know on behalf of the rest of us that are part of Film Commission, Ms. Teeters does a great job of really steering business specifically to not just those members, but all throughout. So you mentioned Brawley, but with that number of projects, I hope everyone understands that one of the things that Charlotte is really diligent about is keeping those dollars here and making sure that benefits. So I thank you. I thank you on behalf of our Imperial County Sheriff Reserve Unit, which is a nonprofit group. So again,
appreciate it.
And great point. And because of that, I think there needs to be greater participation from the business community that is benefiting from these projects. So
Yep.
I hope that they'll join the Film Commission as well as members, so.
There, I do believe they're seeing the significance of
Sure.
it, and I do have appointments coming up, so.
Fantastic.
Well, good.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. And
Yeah.
again, I apologize for being
That's
late.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. And again, items are approved by one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately at a time determined by the mayor. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as written?
So moved.
There's a motion and a second.
we got
There
it.
is a second.
Simultaneous.
So that was a 2.5. Okay. All right, so there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing, and it's 4A, appeal for a zone change. ZC 14-01, general plan amendment, GPA 14-01, site plan, conditional use permit for parcel map PM 1401, River Palm Mobile Home and RV Park, mini storage convenience market. And I will open, I'll allow comment first, and we'll open the public hearing.
As Mr. Geist, our planning director, pulls up a site plan view, just wanted to note a couple of items prior to presentation, and that is after agenda posting last week, we have provided a number of updates that are included in an updated council agenda report. It is available here for the public should any attendees wish to have it. Council has it in front of them. And I will also note for the record that last night the Business Advisory Committee did convene, and they reviewed the appeal component, or the project description generally, and became familiar with some of the issues relative to the Planning Commission's recommendation to deny, and did proceed with a vote of support for the project. The vote was not unanimous, but there was considerable support from the individuals who were present last night.
What I'd like to do is have staff give their report, and then what I'll do is open up the public hearing, get comment for and or against, and then we'll take it from there. So, Mr. Geist.
Good evening, Mayor Nava, council members, Gordon Gase, Planning Director. Like the city manager mentioned, this is a application for a zone change, conditional use permit for the storage facility, a parcel map that will divide this into 3 different parcels, and a general plan amendment which will mirror the zone change. The property is currently zoned R1. The property, just a quick history, the property previously had a single-family residential subdivision entitled on it. There were 100 units, and there were the same surrounding streets that were required to need improvements. There were other public streets that would have ran through, connecting to the subdivision across the vacant parcel to the east. Like I said, there was probably about 100 units, and there was a retention area in there too to provide for that component of the project. This project is proposing a change. Let's say this, if I turn it, it's going to get even smaller. So north is going to have to be to the right here.
I think we have a copy of the map
Or
here.
to the left, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, to the left. Yeah, if you need to see
Ours is
details.
bigger.
Yeah, you can see it on the large one. So just in general, you'll see at the western boundary, there is a parcel that would be zoned M1. This one would be used for a mini storage facility, self-storage facility. And on the southeast corner of the property, there's a parcel for a small mini market convenience store. The bulk of the project is made up of mobile homes, which is the larger parcels. They have a minimum size of 2,500 square feet per space. And the smaller ones are the RV spaces, which have a minimum size of 1,500 feet per space per the City of Brawley zoning ordinance. I said that the project does meet the minimum requirements of the City of Brawley zoning ordinance. If this were already zoned that way, then it wouldn't have to go through public hearing process. Most likely, it would be approved at the staff level if it meets that. However, when you do a general plan amendment and a zone change, there's discretionary involvement with the Planning Commission and possibly in this case, when there's a zone change and the general plan amendment, the City Council also gets involved. And you obviously, during that public hearing process, you get public comments from the people in the surrounding area. I'm not going to go through every point at the bottom of your staff report of some of the topics that arose, because I'm sure you'll hear about it from the subsequent people that want to speak. Just to summarize what I remember hearing at the beginning, there were actually more RV spaces. The Planning Commission wanted to see a more permanent residential fixture at this site and asked for more mobile home spaces, since those are the people who probably would be staying there longer. The applicant did reduce that number of the RV spaces and added some. There was also a topic about adding more visitor parking. One of the topics regarding the reason for that of lowering the RV spaces was because those people are typically more mobile and go in and out. It's a little farther away from a major thoroughfare. Most RV space parks are usually closer to a major road. So that was one of the findings of the that you see on the page, either in either staff report, where the basis for denial was that it was not compatible with adjacent uses. And that even though the traffic would remain at level of service A, of course it's still going to increase, that it's not characteristic of the neighborhood, and that it would be detrimental to the surrounding existing neighborhoods.
Mr. Gates, prior to it being entitled R1, it was agriculture, right? It was
not for a long time. I mean, it was used as agriculture,
right.
Yes, but it's ever since it's been in the city, it's been zoned R1.
Has it? Okay.
Yes.
Because I farmed those fields with my
Yes.
dad, and
Yeah, it was farmed. It was just like what you would see in La Paloma right now. You know, it's not zoned agriculture
Right.
anymore, but it was a use that continued after it was
Right.
annexed.
Okay.
You know, in the interim until it gets developed. Right.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions from council at this time?
Well, if I may, Mayor, I've got some questions, and maybe I should ask them now before, when we open the
Sure,
public
of course.
hearing, that way they can answer them, but, and I'm not, Mr. Gates probably can't answer these questions, but the folks that's putting the project together, I'm sorry, so you guys can hear me, but the first question I have is the plan of action for the project, because reading the project description, it's more than just a RV park. They're talking about a mini storage and a mini 2 or 3 different components there, and I'm just kind of curious, is that going to take place before the park actually opens, or are they going to open the store later, and how is that going to take place?
I believe, and I'm sure when the applicant speaks, he can give you more details, but what I've understood from Mr. Goyal is that for the convenience store component, that will probably be one of the last ones until the market is there to support it. The storage facility will be basically phased in, and the whole project, it wasn't going to be all at once. It would be phased in probably in quarters or thirds, and the improvements surrounding it, you know, in those phases as you go. So they wouldn't be necessarily there before any of the other things are, no.
And I'm neutral with this project, but these are some questions that I would like to have answered because it's going to be important to the project. And then the second question I have is, how is the project going to be managed after it's open to make sure that the facility is what it is and they say what it's going to be? And the third component to my questions is, by the city not being in a position to manage this type of a project, because as you know, by it being a trailer park, I would like to know where the county is with the approval of this project, just to make sure that the county's on board, because after it opens and then it's turned over to the county to maintain.
Right.
And then the last question I have, Gordon, is as far as you guys, staff is probably the most familiar with what's going on here. how do you guys feel as staff about some of the components that you've looked at in this project?
Well, to answer the first part about ultimate enforcement, yes, it is under the jurisdiction of the county because the California code says that mobile homes and RVs are vehicles, therefore they are under the jurisdiction of the county to be licensed, so they do those type of things. What we do have control over is any of the things that are the big picture of the site. So if their landscaping starts to be, mismanaged, we can ask for, them to keep it up, things like that. Typical zoning violations, of course. It's a project that, it's just an added thing to watch, basically, just like any other one would be, though. The county was involved already in preliminary meetings. They had no problem initially with the initial layout or anything like that. The details of each of the lot and the way the electrical goes in, everything, that all would come at a later date. And so they had no comment on it at the time because the improvement plans wouldn't come until that actual time. Mm-hmm. We actually see the utilities and the streets, but they have to all be to their standards. So, right. Everything will be paved. There's not going to be any driving or parking on dirt, anything like that. Okay. Everything's going to be per city standards and per the current county standards also. The long-term enforcement, like I said, that's the same thing. The county will be responsible ultimately for individual ones, just like they are right now on any trailer parks. If there's issues, if we see them, we report them. I'm sure they got a backlog too. When they get to them, they get to them. Yeah.
Well, I can say from what I've seen from our strategic planning meeting, what was presented to us by Mr. Gural and some of the other entities, the project looked nice. It's just some questions that I had. Sure. But I can...
And Mr. Campbell, if I could ask that, Councilmember Campbell, there's a summarization of some of the points that were brought up during the Planning Commission. I'm going to read them off just for the benefit of the public here. And some of the items that were brought up were availability of on-site parking, number of trash enclosures, lack of on-site amenities, aesthetic appeal, attractiveness to snowbird population, overall housing density, pet and breed types allowed on premises, proximity to the former Pure Grow facility at 1025 River Drive, mobile home and RV park management regulations, which is something you brought up, County of Imperial code enforcement, age of units on premises, and public safety. So that's just a summary of the items, but I think that encompassed some of the concerns that you had as well. Yeah. So are there any other comments at this time from members of the council?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to state that this will be my 4th time going through the paperwork and through the questions because I'm on the Planning Commission on the outside, so looking in. So all the questions were answered at that point and the pictures and everything. So I'm okay. I'm good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Councilmember Couchman, any comments?
A couple of questions. I noticed that there's this thing says 280. I think I count 282 spaces, but 280 sounds probably right. I was just wondering, on the optional parking spaces, I noticed that they're stating there are 25 or 26 optional parking spaces for this facility. Some of those might not be accessible, but due to the entrance that I see there's a couple of other little issues that I think would need to be addressed. And the parking spaces I noticed are only on one end of the park versus both ends of the park, which make it a little easier for people accessing, say, down here, having to park way over here and then walk back towards wherever they're going to be. One of the things that I can talk about a little bit is that we've always had some issue with parking in mobile home parks. And so that's one of my concerns with the project is the availability of parking. If you have one spot for a mobile home, that can be an issue. So is that correct in my assumption that there's so many spots for parking and then there's those optional spaces? Is that
right? Yeah, the mobile home spaces are required to have an extra visitor spot. The RV spaces are not.
The RV spaces.
But according to their plan, if you look on the side there, you can see a little blow up.
Right, I see that.
Okay, they'll have 2 spaces, but one's probably going to be for the RV, and depending on if you have a self-driving RV or if you have a tow vehicle, they might be both taken by that.
Right.
But there's nothing in the ordinance that says that there has to be an extra space for the RV spaces, only for the mobile home spaces.
Okay, and I'm not necessarily requesting that, I'm just looking at availability of parking. Since that was an issue, I think,
Overall,
that came
right.
before the planning commission, it's also an issue
Right,
that we.
and there is parking on, parallel parking on the internal streets in certain places there, too.
Correct. However, would that impact the residential area by the people parking on their residential streets? I mean, is that going to be a factor, or is there a lot of open
outside of
area
the
that's
project?
not parking?
You mean outside of the area, like on River Drive?
Right.
Can I answer, just give an answer to that? I drive by River Drive quite frequently, maybe twice a week, or maybe 3 times a week. Never do I see hardly any vehicles parked on River Drive. The houses mostly are on going north and south, so, and they face east and west.
Okay.
So the parking on that side, unless they have a big party, then I would assume then that's when they use it.
Well, that happens
But-
occasionally on anybody's street. I mean,
Right.
that's not, but I just don't,
But
I
it's
just
not
don't
a-
know. I don't want to, I think when you're talking about residential, I don't think residences want that to happen every day. I think occasionally, yes, there's not a problem there, but I think every day you might run into some issues.
Yeah,
But I
I
don't know
don't
if
see it.
that's that big of an issue or not, it may not be. The other question that I have was on the trash receptacles. My understanding is there was some concern on the part of trash receptacles. Now, I'm looking at the plan,
That was one also where they had less at the beginning, and then they added some more.
so they have
later.
more at the
Yeah.
present time. And is this the same plan that was presented to the planning?
The last one.
The last one
Yes.
that was presented to the planning
Yes.
commission?
I think another concern was the density, the number of units,
number
just
of-
to
The number of
period, the number of
right,
units
right.
there.
Well,
so.
and like I said, there were a few, I know it's hard to see on here, but if you look at it closely, you'll see these little more marked up parcels here on each street, which were spaces that became like
They
a
removed them,
barbecue
they're-
area,
Right.
things like that, right.
Okay, so they did take some action
Some
to
have been
to
removed.
add
'Cause it
some.
used
You
to
also have a
be-
green space in each of the little rows of RV spaces, I
Right,
believe.
right, yeah, and, you know, and the retention basin will be landscaped also, and there is a small clubhouse area too. That's probably how you're miscounting the number,
Yes.
actually, because those parcels will probably be in that calculation.
And where's the small clubhouse area?
It's up here on the north side.
Lower right corner.
I can't, yeah, I can't quite see it.
C1. Upper right.
That's the,
In that corner, okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Wharton, you had some questions?
I'll squeeze in a few of my comments, concerns, as well as some just overall statement. First off, I was, as well as the appointed delegate with the Brawley Business Advisory Committee, I had really the pleasure and luxury of being able to really hear both Mr. Goyle's presentation in great detail, which I might add was very helpful for me. Also was able to really kind of take a little bit of a backseat, as Councilmember Noriega said, and allow our committee to really kind of vet through what they were hearing. And as already publicly stated by our city manager, came back with an affirmative supportive vote. And quite frankly, hearing what I heard yesterday, I don't blame them. Because really what was presented, I want everyone to understand, my personal view is there are definitely some pros under this project, and I think there's some challenges, with the project that need to be overcome. Some of the pros I'd like to just really quickly throw out, I think is very important. All of us here value the investment, any new business in the city of Brawley. Extremely important, huge pro. As a matter of fact, that was stated by one of our committee members even yesterday. Something else that came out in the presentation I think bears repeating. Mr. Goyle was pretty adamant about the fact that this will serve the lower income housing segment. Again, his words, I don't think it's something that needs to be left unsaid. I think it was maybe it was brought up in Planning Commission meeting, but I think that's kind of important. Again, some may say there's some pros and cons with that, and I think that needs to be maybe vetted through a little bit. But again, I'm bringing that up as a pro because again, that's a part of our city that certainly, again, we do want to serve. Compliance, as best as I can ascertain, and I'm going to say I'm challenged with this because I am not the technical authority, and I think many of us will profess to that, but it sounds to me that this project as a whole, it's very important, is meeting all the requirements per the city and per the conditional use permit. Again, for us to make the zoning change, there's some other challenges, again, that need to be overcome by, for the sake of this project. But again, none of them are insurmountable. But I think that's important. I think some of the issues that were just raised that the mayor just repeated from the Planning Commission, I would like to find out, in case I'm wrong in saying that, what are the compliance issues, if so? And that'd be one of my questions. Moving on from there, I do have some concern with county jurisdiction. Again, history dictates that hasn't been a successful policy model for oversight. Anytime we're making the decision on the outset, and then as a result have to kind of live with the consequence, so to speak, it really becomes a slippery slope for us as a city. With that, the land use, I think there's impacts certainly that need to be addressed with the residents. I think that's a concern for all of us, pro or con. And then other than that, I have a concern with the phase nature. Obviously, you can't make a large investment like this at once. Very few developers do. I understand that. But I think it's really important moving forward, what do we identify in those phases? What is phase one? Because we very well may be living with phase one for quite a while.
Right.
So, you know, that's one of the other issues I want to bring up. My last point would just be, I think it's important for the public, and at least for me as a council member, is understanding what is the business model. Is this, you know, when you hear RV, it can mean a lot of things, RV park, RV resort, and I think it means different things to different people. I think we really need to be specific so we, as ultimately the public, the consumer, know what we're buying, know what we're approving, know what we're getting. And I want to make sure it's very careful because there's a stark difference, as we all know out there, in these type of park arrangements. There's literally the Taj Mahal with all the amenities, of course, that you pay for that. You know, all the way down to, I think, some lesser desirable locations. And I'm talking throughout the country. I'm not talking about just Imperial Valley. So to me, again, just understanding the model, the business model moving forward and identifying exactly what that is. If I can understand those things, I would be in a much better position to answer.
I think those are all valid points. You brought up some valid points. One of the concerns that I do have as well is with respect to the phasing. I think that's very important to know what's going to go up, whether that is the mini storage units or whether that's a certain number of mobile units and RV spaces as well. So that's important to know, just based on the fact that, you know, it's a very dense project, over 200 units, and so knowing exactly when things will take place, I think is very important. Another comment from Councilmember?
One of the things, Mayor Pro Tem, I wanted to let you know is that one of the questions that was brought up at the Planning Commission was, if you were to sell it to someone else, would they maintain, just like you're telling us, will they maintain it just as well as you promised to maintain? So I think they asked for it to be a stipulation somewhere where when they sold, that the other buyers would also, you know, promise to maintain and keep it clean and looking well as they say they're going to keep it.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I think it speaks to the points that have been made to my right here about management and ultimate oversight day to day. Exactly.
Yes.
So I think that encompasses the concerns, the questions that the council has. I think it clearly states what some of the concerns are by the Planning Commission in that summary. I would like to, is there any other comment?
Just really quick on the phasing, the way we had it, we didn't have a certain number or a certain time frame because, well, as you know, the market determines time frame. But what we did in terms of that, we just said however far you start developing up. One thing that was agreed on is obviously you would start on the south end at River Drive and work your way
where
north.
The road is
and
constructed.
they would be constructing half of North Palm Avenue, also as far up as that phase goes, and also contributing money percentage-wise of how much percent they're doing to Duarte for the south half of Duarte, which also would be done at a later time. And the same thing with developing the retention area would be the percentage of what they're doing, which just allows a little more flexibility in saying you shall build 50 right now because you don't know if the market can carry 50 right now.
Right, but I think we do need to determine whatever that number is, that way we know what's being completed and what's not. And so,
but like I said, that would come at the improvement plans. They would show they're going to build 50.
Right.
Say it's up to this street right here, and it would show, well, they're going to build Palm up to here. That's the way the condition is written right now. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, at this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing. And
Thank you.
now is the time for public comment, whether that's for or against the project, or if you're neutral on the project. Now is your time to share your comments with the city council and the public. So if you'd like to come up, the public hearing is open. Not everyone at once, please. Now is, of course,
good afternoon, council members and Alma, and I never met you, Gloria. You've always been involved in city.
Thank you.
City.
Thank
My
you,
name
sir.
is Tomas Perez. I live at 682 North 11, right across where they're trying to build this project. I lived there since I was discharged from the Army in late '59, so I know a little bit about the property there. I don't know if you people are aware, since Pure Grow was there. Pure Grow was there, and we had to suffer through all the ammonia that they released. They had a very bad accident.
in 1992, I think, yeah.
I forget the year, it's about 20 years ago, I think. It blew 20-gallon cans up in the air and knocked one of my windows up. And besides that, they still wanted to buy that property and extend. So in the neighborhood, we got signatures and presented to the council, and then I went to the Imperial Planning Commission, and they denied them extending. They said they were just going to extend it to park their vehicles, but I wasn't too sure about that. And I was glad that they didn't move. They contaminated that area, and they built a mound of dirt that they dug up. I talked to the state people, and they promised me they were going to haul that dirt away, and it's still there. I had some letters, but I couldn't find them. And they tell me that it's not contaminated anymore, but it's, I don't know if you noticed that it's a long stretch of dirt. It's got a cover on it, and I don't know. I still don't like it, but it's still there. They did never haul it away. But the people there are trying to build now, I think it's much better than what we had there. I would like to see it stay as agriculture, but that mini storage that they have, they're going to build. Or if they cover it up, like they say they're going to cover it up with whatever it is, that to us it's going to be a little better than kind of the dirt, the dust. But some of my concerns were, when they build it, I know it's going to be nice looking and everything. But later on, is it going to be like the one we have there at the high school, you know? Right by what used to be College View Market.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's, I know it's for low-income people, but still, where I live, we have some nice-looking homes. I mean, not elaborate homes, but nice, clean homes.
It's a nice neighborhood.
Yeah, and compared to those people that I'm not degrading there, because some of those people that maybe come from across the border, and it's better places to live for them than what they had over there. But sure, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Sure. Yes, you're concerned with the maintenance, the appearance after time has passed.
That's it. And that's about what my concerns are. And I know that we're going to spend a lot of money trying to build this area there. And I just wish them well. But I hope that all the little things that are, like they say, they sell that place, will it be kept up, you know, looking good after that. And one of my other things that I don't like is that the county is in charge of this place. I mean, like I say, if something happens, I mean, who do you call? Do you call the police? You call the sheriff? You call, you know, I hope that doesn't happen. And I hate to say it, but that beef plant, they promised us too that there wasn't going to be any smell, but that hasn't been true. And those people that live around that area, I feel for them, very much so. I live about, well, the beef plant is about right here, and I live about right here. We get the north winds, I don't get any smell because the beef plant was over there. When we get the west winds, we don't get it. When you get the air from the east, then you know.
Sure, it's central, isn't it?
We don't get too much, but once in a while we get it there. I know it's a great thing for the city, but it's not a great thing for the people that live around there.
Sure.
Thank you for listening for me.
Mr. Cruz.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
comments. Thank you for serving our country as well. Thank you. So that's one comment. Thank you again, Mr. Perez. His concerns with maintenance and with maybe for our own sake, a better definition of the county authority, I think, would be, and what they would be responsible, I think is important for us. Is there any other public comment?
Good evening, I'm Gracie Fernandez. I wasn't prepared to speak on this item. I just was listening to what you were saying, but you said River Drive, so it caught my attention. I'm concerned regarding the density. I can take you to some mobile home parks where you will, well, trying to be careful, the words that I choose here. You would be surprised the parking problems. We have parking problems now. Houses have parking problems.
Right.
You know, because of the economy, you have people living with relatives, multiple families in a dwelling. There's houses, and I can point them out to you if you haven't already noticed them, that have 3, 4, 5 cars on their lawn because there isn't enough parking on the street. Mm-hmm. There is not enough parking on the street. I drive this street every day. People do park on the street. You even have truck parking in this area. So what's going to happen with them? Mm-hmm. So I think they're sacrificing having a good park there because they want to make profit in having more spaces. You know, we want quality. You know, I'm not against a mobile home park, but put in something with quality. Don't cram the people in there. I can share with you horror stories. I can take you to some mobile home parks where I cannot drive in that park because there isn't sufficient parking and they're parking in the fire lanes. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is going to happen there? You know, they're going to go up like matchboxes. Kids running all over the street. You know, what are they doing? Is this going to be a mobile home park for seniors or families? If you're going to have families there, you got to have amenities for kids. You have to, or they're going to be running all over the streets. Affordable? I don't know. I know people that live in RV parks whose space rent with utilities is almost $1,000. So if they move in with a mobile home unit and have to pay the mortgage on that, is it really affordable? I think it's more affordable to put in a stick dwelling, apartments or something that would be more affordable. But no, don't be fooled. RV parks are not affordable. And if you think you're going to attract snowbirds, you know, I welcome you to go visit Sunbeam Lake. And I lived in those parks before I bought a house here. Awesome. Awesome locations. Have a good time there. No parking issues. No problems there. But here, it's too dense, and it's not affordable.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Fernandez. Appreciate that. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to make a comment at this time?
Am I considered the public?
You are?
Yes. Kevin Hutchinson, I'm the Planning Commission Chairman, and this project has come in front of our group 3 times, and 3 times it's been voted down. The first 2 times were unanimous. The second time we did have one commissioner that wanted to basically, you know, talk about the project some more with, you know, add a lot of stipulations, and what the motion on the floor was to deny the project based on some of the issues with zoning and some of the other things. I don't know if that's in your report or not. The lady that just spoke was hit the nail on the head with a lot of the comments were, this project came to us being sold as a snowbird project. With, you know, we're gonna attract snowbirds and everything. And if you see the first drawing of the project, it's really not much different than the second drawing. We asked about open space. We asked about reconfiguring the spaces. Where's my dog gonna go? How come I have to walk all the way? This is a 24-acre site. How come I'm gonna have to walk all the way to the other end of the north end of the park, which may not be built out to do any recreation? And if you guys look at this plan, unless it's been changed since I saw it last, that this so-called rec center is about 12 feet by 30 feet. It's just I guess it's just another trailer. I don't know. To me, I mean, I'm not going to go want to play bingo in a rec center that small. But basically, I think I would hope that you'd support the commission and what they went through. If you guys do decide to do something with this project and go forward with it, I would suggest you stick a ton of stipulations, tag a ton of stipulations to this thing, and a lot of it is like some of the things have been mentioned. Some of the other things are trailer age and both sides, both the RV side and the mobile home side.
Mr. Hutchinson, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But with respect to some of those questions, were those questions that you posed, were they addressed by the developer?
Well, the question of the age of the trailer, there was let's just talk about the RV side. There was never any stipulation that I saw that said, okay, we're going to restrict the age of trailers or the time spent in the park. And that was a public comment that came up in the public hearing that somebody would like to see. It was Alan Huber that actually said it. And a lot of the parks that I visit, I have a fifth wheel trailer. They have a lot more open space, more amenities. It's not the density issue that was brought up. Is you know, if you look at this project, people are packed in here like cordwood. I mean, it's just. And they did change it a little bit for each section of the RV to have a little bit of space, but basically it's just one RV space that they designated for each section. And I do agree that the parking is going to be an issue because these aren't regular sized streets.
Right. Mr. Hutchinson, if I could ask you, since you're coming up here as part of the Planning Commission, the questions that you posed, if those issues were addressed, what would be your opinion at that point?
I think that I don't want to kill the project, but I'd like to see, like I said, the thing was sold as a snowbird deal, and then now I'm even hearing from somebody that Mr. Goyle has gone in front of another commission basically and said, yeah, it is going to be low income, and obviously it is. Look at the neighborhood. Look where it's going. I mean, this thing's not near a freeway or a highway where you say, hey, there's an RV park. I'm going to pull in there for the night. I've heard Mr. Perez make some statements before about, beef plant, Pure Grow. Basically, I think I don't want to put words in his mouth. I think they're looking for a little bit of justice over there in this side of town, like a project that's not going to overrun them with, bad things. Sure. And it doesn't. And one of the reasons that we killed it last time, or we denied the project, was the zoning. And it basically says detrimental to the enjoyment or valuation of property adjacent to the site, and also compatible with adjacent structures and uses. So that's. If you guys have any questions for me, I can. I don't want to talk for the other members of the commission, sure, but there was a lot of back and forth with this project. It was certainly. I don't believe, personally, remembering anybody that ever walked into the public hearings and talked about the project that was for the project. There was neutral, people saying neutral things, but Not somebody didn't, from the neighborhood or the public saying, oh, this is a great project,
Sure.
the way it is.
Mr. Hutchinson, thank you for your comments. Are there any questions from council? Thank you. Any comments?
No, I would just like to hear from the rest of the public.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Hutchinson.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anybody else from the public that would like to make a public comment at this time during the public hearing? I would encourage everybody or anybody who has a comment to please share it with the council. This item has, before our next speaker, this item has gone before the public, before the Planning Commission multiple times, and it was viewed by the Business Advisory Committee, and it's now before us. We've had the opportunity to review the materials in advance, but certainly public comment helps us tremendously. So, Mr.
Todd
Dial.
Dial, I own 1259 River Drive. My home is about 900 feet east of the little store that's proposed.
Thank you. All right, Todd.
There's a lot of discussion, parking, phasing, all interesting topics. I've known Mr. Goyle and Mr. Romero for quite some years. They're both really good engineers. I think the first thing is, like, they didn't come to me for advice.
Well, maybe that's why we're here, right, Mr. Dunn?
No, actually, if I was done the project, I would have told you everything. But they're being upfront. That's the point I'm making, is they're actually being upfront, because they could have done a parcel map and just made it so that things were developable, and you wouldn't have asked them anything, and they could have sold it tomorrow, because it would have made things easier to develop. And then the question of financial feasibility, you know, what they're doing because they can get a loan from a bank. And the sewer and the water, it's like a couple $1 million. And so if you can talk a banker into loaning you some money and something you know is not going to work, I need you to work for me. And so, you know, a lot of these things actually have been very well thought out, but I think because they are civil engineers and they've done everything that the state of California, the county of Imperial asked them to do, and your own ordinances, they have declined to, sometimes when you're a civil engineer, it come across like you're schooling somebody. Oh, sorry about that. Like you're schooling somebody. And I think they've kind of declined to do that and just done minimal changes because they feel like they've met the minimal. With that said, I know there's a City of Brawley property just to the north, and it does adjoin your airport, but it's like, traditionally it had been like a dump site, but you guys have fenced it off and it's kind of kept it to a minimum, but extra parking where you need it. There's like 20 acres just to the north that the city owns. I think it would be great to incorporate that. That, of course, would be up to the powers that be. But I think by the fact that Jay and Mr. Romero gave you everything, the conditional use permit, the zone change, the parcel map, is one other item? Is there one other item?
General plan amendment.
General plan amendment, that you have all the power. You can actually tell them, make 10 more spots. And I think that's kind of what they're, I mean, of course, they don't want to make 10 more spots because then you're talking about a banker, right? You're talking about talking people into financing. And so I believe that's kind of what, and that's not really, I only went to one planning commission hearing, or it was actually an appeal, and I think they did the best they could. I think your commissioners were trying to be helpful and trying to do what they thought was right. And at the same time, I think the civil engineers were trying to minimize overhead, knowing that they had done what the law requires. And so, luckily for you guys, the ball's in your court, and they've actually given you all these applications, which are not cheap, giving you a lot of plans, which are not cheap, and you can actually place your own conditions. You can say, I want 2 more spots per row, or whatever it is that you're gonna, and so I would hope that you move forward with that in mind. I don't know if that's going to be a yes tonight or a yes after you hear more or you request more information. But I do live in the area. It's been nothing but tumbleweed. I mean, my in-laws live there. My family lives there.
It's a great neighborhood.
Yeah, I love that neighborhood. The beef plant does smell. He's right.
Yep.
Yeah, we know.
You know what I mean? I'm looking for justice, but you're not here.
Mr. Dye, well, thank you for your comments.
Yep. All right.
I appreciate it very
Todd,
much.
Todd, we appreciate that, and we're here to hear all the comments, and we do appreciate folks that want to invest in our city. So.
Sure. I think what you'll see from this council, too, is that we consider any item that comes before us, and we give it full consideration. So I know that there's been the appeal process in place, and that's why we're here today, but certainly we're here to listen and to gain as much input as possible. I think it's very important for us to consider all those items.
I do have a comment for Mr. Hutchison, though, because, I mean, if he would come up, and because we're looking at the project, and as the Planning Commission has stated, too, all in all, it's not a bad project. If I may ask, and you may not be able to answer that tonight, but what would it take for the Planning Commission to approve the project? Is it possible for you guys to jot down some of that so we can get back with Mr. Gual?
Well, I think we started down that path the first couple meetings, and like Mr. Dial said, they came back with the minimum. You know what I mean? I just think that everybody, you guys understand the issues here. This is a tough one because we have parks in this town that don't look good, and what I think the commission's worried about, and rightly so, is this thing turning 20 years from now looking like College View or the place across from DMV.
I think that's
that's the big 600-pound gorilla in the room here.
It is a valid point. But I would add this, though. That's why it's important.
I don't know how to get there for everything, but you're stacking a bunch of stuff in there. And I mean, come on.
When there's concerns, whether that's on council, we've been through it multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
You table the item. Don't close it down.
Right.
Table the item. Request.
And maybe that's what we should have done.
Request information, but be very specific about what you're requesting.
Exactly.
Have them address it. If it's satisfactory, then you move forward.
Yeah.
But they were also shut down 3 times, so now they're before us here.
I
so
understand that.
That's a
That's
challenge.
the appeal process.
Right.
That's fine.
So, my question would be with that, what were some of the Planning Commission recommendation for parking? Was that addressed? Did you give them, say, hey, instead of 2 spaces, we want 3 spaces? I don't know if that took place.
I don't know either. I don't think it did. But the issue too was them. Okay, we did ask for more mobile homes because I think it was the commission's worry that if you have more mobile homes and less RVs, you're going to have nicer. You're going to have a nicer project. And I think, like I said, it's this RV thing that's getting to people. And you know, I ask about pull-through sites. I ask about a little bit of space in between here and there. Where's my dog going to go if I bring a dog into this area? At first, the project, the first time, didn't even have a laundromat. I mean, for, you know, come on.
But I'm also
You
hearing
see?
a lot of generalities. I'm not hearing specific requests of information. I think that's the challenge.
I mean, I'm not here to design his project.
You're right.
You know,
but you're there off. You know, certainly in that capacity, if you have concerns,
As a planning commission.
right, absolutely, and that's what we're here to do as well. So, and that's where we rely on our planning commissioners to perform in that capacity.
And like I said, my suggestion, and you guys can do, is if you do approve this thing, it's got to have a lot of there's going to have to be a lot of stipulations involved. And we can do that up front, like you said. Once we hand this thing over to the county, I think you're going to lose control, and that's another issue that we had because we didn't really understand that correlation.
Right.
I mean, we sort of understand it, but that's another issue. And the phasing was an issue too. I mean, what if they decide, okay, market's bad, we're only going to build a quarter of this thing, and then the rest of it's just going to be a big dirt lot, you know. So I don't, and it's all market driven, like I said, and I agree with that. It's a huge site. I mean, we're not talking about 4 or 5 acres here. We're talking 23, 24 acres. That's a lot of, and I guess what I'm saying in the real world, I think everybody in this room would probably like to see single-family homes or nice condos or something like that. And maybe, some mobile home, it just maybe more mixed use, I don't know.
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question. I don't, like I said, I'm an RVer, I go to these places and I don't see the draw.
Understand? Councilmember Nordega?
My personal opinion was when each and every time that I did go to the meetings for the Planning Commission, there was never a specific amount of, I want to see 50 parkings, we want to, we would like to see 100. Unfortunately, that was never said as far as I can remember. There wasn't anything really specific other than they did, say this is something.
Is that our job to do that? To say, I want this many parking, you know what I'm saying? We don't know how many people are going to be living in these units and,
Well, I think to answer your question, the job of the Planning Commission, certainly if you had concerns, to identify those concerns. And I think giving them an opportunity to address them
there was several lists going around. So, I don't know. Like I said, and I have the document. If you take that drawing and the very first drawing and you put them side by side, there's not much difference.
Right.
I mean, at first glance.
Sure, we will.
Anyway.
Mr. Hutchinson, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to allow the applicant now to have an opportunity to speak.
Mr. Gordon, if we could have him at this other side. Sorry.
Good evening, Mayor Nava and council member and city staff. First thing, thank you so much for giving the opportunity to talk right here and presenting the project. There are several things I would like to start mentioning. First thing is the tremendous support by the city staff. That is nothing but a great experience. The city manager, city, and many of the city planning director, amazing. Before submitting the project to the city planning commission, we have several meetings with the city staff where the police was there, Frank Soto from the building was there, and also the fire department there. We met every single conditions. We just did not brought the project in the review committee and we are going to take to the planning commission. So every single comment they made, whatever required, okay, we need to have 24 feet parking, we need to have so many or 24-foot lanes there, or what the road conditions there, what the road width need to be there, the fire hydrants, the trash cans, every single conditions was met, every single one. We did not discuss just like Mr. Gordon said, that we also discuss about construction, and I'll get to you, Mr. Wharton, in a few seconds about the phasing. Said how we're going to do the construction. Just like I said, it's not possible to build the entire project in one phase. So how we're going to do it? Their concern was, okay, what happens to Duarte? Let's say if we complete the whole project and we complete the Palm, but if we don't complete the Duarte, what the teeth city has about Duarte? So we agreed, okay, we will start putting a certain portion of the money in some kind of trust account to do something. We'll figure it out. So by the time we complete the whole project, either we construct Duarte or there's enough funds remaining somewhere in the trust account so the Duarte can be completed. So we were doing everything what city was requiring. Then we went to the planning commission. Unfortunately, I was not able to present because I'm one of the planning commissioners. And we requested, we presented the project. And as for the project is concerned, I would like to mention here, if you hear the old recording, we personally think, and I'm sure that some of the planning commissions have the preset agenda for this project, because even before we submitted the project, one of the planning commissions said, I don't like the project. Means nobody's supposed to make this kind of comment without hearing this thing. Just like Mr. Nawa, you mentioned, that they did not say what they need, but they rejected our project immediately. There were some comments made. We keep requesting, okay, tell us what needs to be done. Tell us what needs to be done. And the first time the comment was made, okay, we need more mobile home parks or mobile home spaces. Okay, we heard this thing. They talk about more trash can. Before designing this project, it was not designed in like a month or 2 months. We visited multiple RV projects. Being a business person in the Brawley for more than 25 years, I look for the betterment of the community. I'm not here for just bring a dumb project. If you remember, at my gas station at the corner of K Street and Highway 86, there used to be like 320 square feet store. Right now it's a brand new Circle K and a big facility there. So we brought the betterment. Right behind that thing, there was a small motel, which was always a drug problem. Guess what we did? We removed this motel, and now the shopping center being built, which is going to bring more jobs. So over the years, our family had created more than 100 jobs. Currently, we employ 30 people. So we are looking for betterment to the community. Just because city has a couple of bad experience from the mobile home parks. At the same time, cities means there are about like 8 or 10 more RV and mobile home parks which are in good condition. They are being maintained very well. I was checking Google today. There are more than 5,000 mobile home parks in the state of California, and more than 1 million people living there. So does it mean because the 2 RV parks or mobile home parks which are being controlled by the county means the whole state would not approve any more mobile home parks? One of the public comment was about $1,000 per month space. We have no intention that way. Because again, everything comes for the feasibility. If we cannot provide an affordable living, guess what happens? Nobody's going to rent from us. So we need to provide a small space, which meets the requirement of the city, single wide trailer, double wide trailer, as for the mobile home is concerned, and give them affordability. These people who are living in the, let's say, double wide trailer comes about 13 or 1400 square feet. If you look for renting that property, because some people have the credit issue, some people cannot afford this housing. So those kind of 1,400 square feet homes cost about $140,000 to $160,000. You're looking for $1,200 payments, $1,300 payment. If they can afford this kind of a mobile home, which is about $30,000, $40,000 and about $300, $400 per month payment, now you are living in a house which is not attached with anything. Okay, you don't own the land, okay, but still you have the facility. You are living on your own house. People live for years. So, like I said, just because a couple of bad tests in the mouth, a decision should not be made on those tests. Other thing is, the project was rejected 3 times by the Planning Commission, but at the same time, the project was supported yesterday by the Business Advisory Committee. And this updated council report, which was given by the city planning director, he did a great job, and just like he wrote down thing, availability on-site parking. City said we need that many parking. In the first design, we did that. Then the Planning Commission did not said we need it. They said we like to see this thing. Okay, no problem. Next time we changed it. So there is quite a significant difference. I would not say 100%. There is at least 20-30% difference between the first submittal and the one you see on the screen. So there is a difference. They asked for number of trash enclosures. Before designing the trash enclosures, we did talk to Allied. Okay, how many trash enclosures this kind of facility should have? We visited several locations, and what we realized is because the trash, they don't want the trash enclosures every block. So these people just like to go on one side and dump it. It's much easier for the trash company also to pick up all the trash from one side rather than going to 10 different locations, because you are tearing apart the streets. They are heavy trucks. So we designed it. Planning Commission said we need more trash enclosures. Okay, no problem. We'll get you more trash enclosures. Lack of on-site amenities. They talk about it. Okay, so no problem. We did provide a trailer here. Now, as far as the community hall is concerned, so this is the concern that, okay, there's no community hall, big one. So is city gonna require that now every single residential project which brings 200 homes, there needs to be community hall? This is a residential project where we are going to have the amenity. So people can rent this space from us, and right next to the community hall. right here. If you see, this is the kind of small community hall right next to that one. We have 2 extra spaces. These spaces are for people to get together if they want to have a barbecue, they want to sit down, just enjoy the life right there. And this is right across the retention basin. Which is this one. You have the copy of this thing on your package also. So we have a half basketball court. We designed a small soccer court. We designed some ramada. We designed some space where people can enjoy the evening. As far as one planning commission or commissioner made a comment about the dog. Wait, I'm going to take the dog. So would there be new requirement by the city that now every single residential project where the 200 homes are coming, there need to be dog park? Means it's not a requirement. Okay, so just people have the dogs, same thing. We have this big retention basin where the people can take the dogs. Aesthetic appeal. They requested aesthetic appeal. We put more landscaping. Earlier we were trying to keep it very, very low, but they said, okay, we need to have more landscaping. Okay, no problem, we'll get more landscaping. While keeping information in mind about the water problem which are going. Attractiveness to snowbird population. This is where I have concern. The comments which are made, how the comments were made. Are there business people who are really calculating how many snowbirds are coming? Earlier, the film commissioner was here, and she did talk about there's so many, these companies are coming for filming. You know that those guys bring the trailers because they have so much stuff inside. They like to keep on trailers. Sometimes the contractors, they don't like to live in apartments. When they're coming, they live on the trailer to trailer. So in the construction project, month, 2, 3, what they do, they park on the trailer. Is there any good RV park in Brawley where there's spaces there? I don't think so. So what we need is not only for snowbirds, for those people also, contractors, to park for some time. Okay, they can park for a week. I understand this is not on the highway when somebody is going to drive. We are not expecting that. But because those sites are very expensive, okay, that's why there's not a lot of development coming on these RV parks, very expensive. But here, our whole idea is to bring the snowbirds. During the winter months, thousands of people are coming in the sand dune, thousands. Okay, they're staying there on site. Why don't we bring them to the city? If we bring to the city, and then over the weekend, sometimes they park there. If we can provide the facility for they can park here in city, and then they can take their car, what's going to happen? They're going to spend evenings in the city. If they spend in evening cities, they're going to use their city restaurants there. They're going to do more shopping. So it's a more business coming to the city. If there are more RVs coming, so there is an RV facility, or the companies who fix the RVs, who repairs the RVs, there's more business to them. Overall housing density, that was a concern. Okay, on this kind of facility, between about 25 acres, means last time 100 homes were submitted. I personally believe we can probably fit about 125 to 130 homes. Average number of population for each single family home is about 3.5. So we are looking for almost 350 to 400 people living in the park, if all the homes are built. Okay, and if you go for the spaces, the 90 mobile home spaces, those people, let's say if you are living 2 to 3 people, and RVs generally don't bring 20 kids in the family. Means RVs are just husband and wife, retirees. There are 78 baby boomers, and they are they are expected to live on this kind of enjoyable life, and they are expected a much higher sale of RVs all over America. So that's why RV parks are getting more popular. So we need to bring those revenue in the city. So those guys are husband and wife. So there are 180 spaces for RVs. We don't expect them to get full for entire year. Means we'll be lucky if we are having the 100% space full for 1 or 2 weeks. Our idea is about 40-50%, maybe 60% space full in the winter time, and probably 10-15% during the all year long. So that means if even there's 180 spaces, all are filled for 1 week, you're talking about 360 people right there. So the number of people living in this park is not increasing much higher than single family residents living in that neighborhood. As for the cars are concerned, there are always more cars in the single family than RVs, because those guys, if lucky, they are driving one car. Otherwise, they don't drive the cars. They are just driving the RVs. Okay, so mobile home, yes, there could be 1 or 2 cars, but number of cars we are expecting with the single family, means this mobile home and RVs are lower than the single family homes. Okay. I already mentioned the pets and breed. Now, proximity of the former Pure Grow, yes, it was there. The site was contaminated. It has been cleaned. There is certificate. And just like Mr. Diaz said, that yes, after that one, it will be less dust coming. So which is even good for the whole area. Now, if the project get denied for any reason, then what happens to the land? Because this is not a great location for build the single family homes. Means all the homes nearby is about $125,000, $100,000, $130,000 homes. Few of them may be 150. The new homes, by the time you built it, you're looking for $250,000 homes. So we cannot build the single family homes. What are the other options? Okay, just leave the land vacant for 25 more years. Who knows, someday there will be more demand for single family homes there. And management and regulations, means this is one of the concern about management and regulation. Our idea is that we will be managing the project. Okay. Our estimated expected construction cost is about $8 million on the project by the time it's completed, full project. If we are going to sell the project, even after 10, 15, 20 years, you are looking for a $15, $20 million project. If somebody spent that kind of money, do you think they are going to just let the project run over? Means this is a huge investment. And anybody for $15, $20 million, if somebody buys it, even they buy in the phases or they buy the mobile home or convenience store or small portions, it's a huge project. So people would not let, it's a $15 million project. Hey, now anybody can come in and make a dump site like other two mobile home parks. In addition, those two locations which has given the bad taste in the mouth, those are mainly for mobile home. Once the mobile home comes there, they stay there forever. Here, we have only about 90 mobile homes and 180 RV spaces. If we don't keep the project clean, then guess what happens? We would not be able to attract 180 those RVs. So our main source of income or main attraction is those RVs. So here if I have the website, I'm saying the project looks beautiful and they come this time, but this time they realize, what? It's not a great site. We have all kind of problem. This is graffiti there. This is like poor quality mobile home. Next year, even if I'm offering it 50%, they would not come. Most of these guys who are running this or driving this mobile home, they're $100,000 mobile home. Oh, I'm sorry, not mobile home, RVs. $100,000 RVs, sometimes even more expensive. How would I attract them if I cannot keep the property clean? I have the history of living in the Brawley for 25 years. And like I said, a couple of projects I discussed. When I touch them, I make it beautiful. I'm not here to just let it run away or make it a blight project. As for the County of Imperial Code enforcement, yes, there is a County Imperial Code enforcement, but project will be constructed with the strict requirement of the city. All the roads, all the water line or sewer line anywhere you like or connect on the top or the ground. It's not. It's right here. There's a certain space where connections are there. So as for the meeting the requirement, if you go, there are several good parks in the valley. They are being maintained very well. County has no problem. Yes, county has problem with a couple of them. But what we can do, means if the city cannot do anything, state cannot do anything, what can we, as a citizen, can do with those two projects? But at the same time, there are hundreds, like I said, out of 5,000 mobile home park, also probably 4,700 of them are in great condition. They provide the great facility. As far as the low income, yes, it will be, I mentioned, like it will be kind of a low income community also because of people who are living in the mobile home park. But it's not necessary that it is completely low income. We are talking about people who are making $20,000 only. We are looking for low to medium. I don't expect people who is making $100,000 living in this mobile home park. Okay, so we are looking for people who are looking for between $700 to $800 into the trailer rent and the mobile home rent to stay there. So also, if you like I said, it meets the city requirement And not only meet, actually it exceeds. One of the comment was about maximum density. It's not maximum density. From the first time, we reduced the number of spaces by 5%, more than 5%. So every block, a green space is given. Is any residence facility which we are getting or which we are people are bringing in the project, are we going to tell them that, hey, you know what, every block you need to have one space, you cannot build the homes, you need to have the park? We don't. We have the specific park location. Here, rather than having the specific park location in the north, we said, you know what, let's have one on every block. This is what was a comment from the Planning Commission, and we respected it. It was not a condition set, but it was a condition, means they asked for it, we did it. So whatever the conditions or the comments made, we heard very carefully. And every single one, literally every single one was, we have taken care. And end of the day, when they ran out of the comments, they rejected the project. Why the project was not rejected on these two conditions the first time? If that was a condition, the project was submitted. So had they really did not, means, again, I don't know what was going on. But why this comment, the two reasons like material detrimental to the employment of the valuation of the property. This convenience store. Convenience store brings the value to the property because right now the people who are living in the neighborhood, they don't have a lot of vehicles. They don't want, means this poor or like low income community, there's no neighborhood convenience store within half a mile. So now if there's a convenience store, it becomes more easier, and then my real estate knowledge says that when the more facility happens, the value of the properties go up, not go down. Mini storage. Have you seen all the trash in some of the homes or some of the homes around there? Why? Because they cannot find a place to put those boxes or containers or something. Mini storages are like, most of the mini storages are like on the 111 or Highway 86 on the south end. If I provide or we provide a mini storage on that location, what's the possibility that some of these residents, these mini storages are not only for these manufactured homes, they are for open to the public. So what they do, they can rent it and they can put this they can rent the space and they can use it. It will reduce the clutter on the alleys and it will reduce the clutter on the around the houses. And this is not compatible with adjacent structure and uses. Okay, on the west side is a vacant land, the property right now. And we don't expect anything to happen because it's owned by Chevron. North side is a city-owned block, 20 acre. What would ever happen, who knows. On the east side is a vacant land. So when the comment was made, it is not compatible with the adjacent structures. Which structures we are talking about? There are only a few homes on the south side, only a few homes. The street is wide enough, and the traffic study says that the amount of traffic which will be increased still will be lower than the capacity of the street here. So every single requirement is met as not detrimental to the enjoyment of the valuation. So we have no idea why it was rejected. I said no reason was given, and if council decide today that they don't want this project, tell us straight. We don't want for certain reasons. Okay, but if you want us to make some changes, please let us know. Okay, means we really like to bring the value to the city. In $8 million construction, it may even go higher in the future because with the construction cost. This is a lot of money we are trying to bring to the city. And I would love to answer each and every question which was raised in the starting. So if you can start asking the questions, I'd love to answer.
Well, go. Of course. I have a question. And again, it's, Jay, if the project went as planned, I mean, without a whole bunch of hurdles, I think it would help everybody in the public to kind of know if you plan on putting so many trailers or mobile homes, kind of how is it going to be phased in? I mean, that's important. Once you get so many mobile homes and then you start with the store and then the RV park part of it, just for us to kind of have an idea of what your plan is.
Definitely. Our idea is, if you see the plans here, or I can show the bigger plans here, you have the one big copy also. The south 2 blocks of the RVs and about 10 space or 10 to 15 spaces just along the Palm Avenue. These are the ones we want to do in the phase 1. Phase 1 is the most expensive of any project because we need to start doing the sewer line, the river drive and all that thing. At the same time, we'll be probably building about, let's say, first 300 feet or 400 feet of mini storage. They're very expensive. So we will be constructing them as more demand happens when they start filling in. Right. Now, once these south two blocks are completed, so which is completing almost 3 streets and completing the beautification along the river and a portion of Palm Avenue, then, we will realize that there's a more demand for RVs or more demand for mobile homes. If there's more demand for RVs, we may go north along the RV side. If there's more demand for mobile homes, we can go along the east side. So that will be within a year. But the whole idea is to fill this thing in, means like all the RV mobile homes, and make it very attractive within 5 to 8 years. We don't expect this thing, just you open it today, right, or everything will be filled in. So we are looking for, maybe it may take even 10 years. And for mobile homes, like a ministry is concerned, we expect in about 3 to 5 phases. Okay, just keep building as the demand comes in.
Yes, I have a question, not necessarily for Jay, but for the city as a whole. When we do this type of project and say he's going to build a portion of it, in the first year, and then it's going to be 4 years before maybe, or 3 years before he builds the other portion, does the retention basin park and all of that type of thing have to go in advance of that?
So our recommended approach would be to phase according to the proportion of the area served. So X number of would recommend on a project like this one is that the solution that's employed is parallel to the impact created. So you would do your park-related improvements, your stormwater-related improvements, and then your other rule of thumb is the abutting, whatever the abutting improvements are. So as he's described, that phasing.
But how would he do that? If he's going to phase from the south to the north, how is that going to happen?
He would be required in his retention basin area, for instance, to provide a phasing plan to the stormwater solution that the city engineer confirms is an actual solve for the new impervious surface created. And he'll have to have parallel solutions for each area as he changes the landscape. Right. So it's built incrementally. Examples would be, for instance, over at McMillan's development and their stormwater improvements. What we would suggest is that the park-related improvements parallel with it, and that's some of what we aim to accomplish in our.
But I don't think I would suggest anything. I would require it, and then we go from there. How can we suggest things?
I'm only stating it because you're asking what would be staff's recommendation.
Right.
Yeah.
You would suggest from staff, we might require as a part of the contract or whatever we have with, or the CUP or whatever we're going to establish, then we would require that as a requirement. And so we might say, you must build this first before you build anything in this other section.
And I think there's great questions here. I don't think we're going to have a resolution here tonight.
No, I don't know.
So I would like to hear if there's comments, additional comments from the public at this time during the public hearing. Thank you.
Can I make any comments about that construction, sir? For this, the detention basin is concerned, we did discuss during our initial design, and generally what happens, just like city manager said, not necessarily means in the first phase it will be built on the north side because there's not enough storm drain coming. So what happens is there's there's no lining on this thing. It's just a hole. So what we can do is right after first 2 phases, first phase, we can have like a bigger hole. It's like a temporary retention basin, which is like 5th or 6th block. So which is just controlling, getting the water. But again, it will be done per the city requirements. And just like every single construction project gets done.
But my concern, when you're going to build a project like this, and say it's going to be built in phases over the years, then my concern would be that as you build the north phase or the south phase, say you build the south phase, so you have a market and you have so many spaces, okay, set up, okay. But then you have no green area for those individuals. So you have a hole there, but you don't have a real green area for them to go. And so what that does, if that's going to come in 5 years, then that creates problems, I think, for the south end of the project, because they will have no place to really go.
Sure.
That you would not even have the clubhouse at that point in time. That would be, and that's one of my concerns.
Okay,
It's just a question that I have. It's not a thing that I'm just concerned about. Those are the kind of questions that are raised as I talk about the project.
Important question. Let's hear public comment first, and then what we can do is address the questions with staff, and they can get more specific answers for the questions that we have.
And I believe that everything is solvable. I think it's just a question of questions and getting things solved.
I agree. Thank you. Mr. Goyle, thank you very much. Is there any other member of the public that would like to make a public comment? Mr. Hutchinson, is there anything new that you'd like to add?
Just quick comment.
Sure.
Was about, one of the big concerns too was a management plan. And we were handed the management plan at the third meeting, just before our meeting started. We didn't have a chance to go over that plan. There was some things in there that were kind of boilerplate language from, I don't know where it came from, talked about tent camping and stuff like that. We were told by the developer, tent camping was not going to happen, but there it was in the plan. So,
Sure.
Just little things like, I haven't seen your packet. I don't know if that was modified or resubmitted in any form or not. So,
Mr. Hutchinson, thank you. And we're going to request clarification on all of those items, so thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to make a comment?
Good evening, members of the council, Mr. Mayor. My name is Sean Wilcock. I'm the chairman of the Business Advisory Committee, and I think it would be unethical for me not to support the decision of the committee, so I'm not going to comment in that capacity. But in the capacity of a member of the public, I do feel that it is your responsibility to look out for the property owners of the adjacent properties. I do feel that the property values will be significantly decreased having a project of this nature put right in their front yard. I do think that members of the public have made comments that it's a nice neighborhood. It's not. I don't think it's a low-income neighborhood, and I think it will significantly impact the values of those properties. I am also concerned that the County of Imperial has neglected to take care of their responsibility in taking care of these existing trailer parks. I think all trailer parks have probably start out with every intention of being good, but later on down the road, projects get sold, people stop caring, people move away, they move out of the area. We see that in some of the abandoned properties right here in our own downtown. A lot of these properties are owned by out-of-area owners, and they don't care anymore. That scenario could happen. So that's just a couple of concerns, mainly the property value. I'm really concerned. These people, many of these people have worked all their lives and poured money into those homes, and in many cases, it may be all they have. It may be their entire retirement sitting in that home. And how can we park a project, right next to their home and devalue it? So,
Sure. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to make a comment? I'll give you one last opportunity if there's anyone else that would like to make a comment during this public hearing. So we've heard comments for and against the project. Mr. City Attorney?
Yes.
With respect to the public hearing, I don't believe that our council is ready to make a decision here tonight, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn there, but could I close the public hearing, the comment portion of it, and then move on to the next items and take those up independently? What would you?
It's the council's choice. You can either adjourn the public hearing till next meeting, or you can close it. But it's time to do one or the other.
So if I adjourn it, we'll still move on to the following items, is that correct?
And if you adjourn it, then you would, at your next meeting, it would be on your agenda, you'd ask if there was more comment.
Okay. So just so I'm clear on this, adjourn the public hearing, then we move on to A2, is that correct?
A2 and 3 are action items.
Action items, okay. So I will adjourn the public hearing at this time, and I'm going to move on to items.
You know what, Mr. Mayor, I would like, you should vote to adjourn it.
Okay.
So you need a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the public hearing at this time. Is there a second? There's a second. Any discussion?
Comment, just quick comment. I appreciate everybody that did come out and make comments tonight, and I do appreciate a lot of work has gone on to this both by the project proposal as well as our commission. There's many commissioners not here tonight, so again, this has not been without a lot of people putting in time and effort on that. Thank you on behalf of the council.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And again, thank you very much for your participation in that public hearing and for your comments. We take these matters seriously, and I know it's gone before the Planning Commission multiple times and the Business Advisory Commission, and I know there's concerns on every aspect of the projects. And so we're certainly here to evaluate all of those concerns and ask those questions. And so we're going to move on to item 4.2, A2, and that's the first reading. I would make a motion to table the items 2 and 3 until we get further clarification on some of the concerns that were raised here tonight, to include the management of the project, to include the a clear definition of what the county authority is with respect to mobile home parks, and to some of the other items that were of concern to the Planning Commission that were summarized in the council agenda report, the updated report. And other items from council, are there any other items that you can think of?
I think just the general items that were in there, the phasing in
The phasing,
aspect
yes,
of the
the
whole thing
phasing,
is
please.
very important, I think, and those types of things. I mean, they're all listed there, I think.
I can agree with what the mayor is moving forward with, but I would like for us to kind of discuss some kind of a timeline when we can get together as a council and as the developer and the planning commission and the public, so we can kind of get the thing wrapped up, because we definitely don't want to kill the project, so we need to come to some kind of consensus on how we're going to.
And we can give it 30 days, yeah, the first meeting in June. And actually, let's give it to the second meeting in June.
Yep.
So that's the 16th. If we can have this item come before us, would everybody be in agreement here on council?
I think that's okay.
And that would give us time to get some answers from some of the concerns?
I think we've got some clear direction from the council with regard to proposals to more fully address the areas of concern, and those that were highlighted today were the phasing plan, the management plan, and stormwater and rec facilities. I will be working with staff to organize a meeting with Planning and Development Services of the County of Imperial. I think it's really important that we pursue additional dialogue with them to help flesh out the enforcement piece of this. And I know there's maybe still a very much a gray area, and it's been touched on a few times, which is what teeth can be put in place with regard to on-site management issues. Is there a document that can be recorded? Is there a way to incorporate it into conditions? How can we best position the city to ensure the outcomes? And I want to be sure that going down that road is consistent with the council's direction here tonight.
Just a couple of things. I think in the future, we're going to see more of these types of projects along the 111 corridor and in the valley. I know we have some annexations that have taken place that have some potential for mobile home parks in the future. I think the council as a whole needs to take a look at what are our requirements for parking, and do we have specifics for that, and do we need to update those? Based on what they may be. I don't know whether a mobile park is coming here in all the time that I've been here as a city councilman, and I don't think there has been any. And so one of the things that may be happening is maybe those issues are outdated, and maybe we need to bring them before the council and discuss some of those issues as a general thing, not necessarily directly related to this project. What I would like to do, though, is be able to tell people, this is specifically what I need you to do for this to be approved. And then if those conditions are met, then I would like to give an approval. if we don't know or aren't quite sure what to give them in terms of numbers or spaces or sizes or something, then that creates some problems for me.
Sure.
Because then it becomes more of a subjective decision on my part as opposed to an objective decision, and I want
Right.
objective decisions.
If the-
And so it's just the comments that I have, just for the future, that we can
Valid
look at this in the next couple of months, we can look at this for the future, because I think we're going to see more of this.
If this was a traditional
This is
housing
kind of a
project,
pioneer.
we likely would not be having this
That's right.
discussion.
Correct.
So it's valid points. Any other comment?
Okay, so can we be a little more specific? So June 16th, you want to have the meeting. So we have, does that mean we're going to have a first reading in June? And then what? Can we,
What I would suggest is that the public hearing's been adjourned, so it should be reconvened before, and then these action items come back.
Right.
But is that timeline okay with Mr. Hutchins and Mr. Gould? You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
I don't believe it comes from our.
It won't.
Right.
Before that.
Yeah.
It'll
No,
be
no.
city staff.
Well, I think
It won't.
the city manager's going to set up some meetings and some
No, actually,
communication.
with county.
no,
Okay.
it's with
Okay.
county, yeah.
One other item, though. With respect to a motion, do I need to make a motion for this item to table it?
You did?
Yeah, I made the
did.
motion, but
Yes.
is it
We need it.
necessary?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Again,
Table these two.
Again,
The action items would come back, basically the agenda for the second meeting in June, unless the council is giving different direction, is to reconvene the public hearing. So it open.
Let me restate my
Okay,
motion.
thank you. I'm sorry.
I'm going to restate my motion, so I'll make a motion to table items 4A, 2, and 3 and reconvene the public hearing on June 16th. After we have received information from city staff regarding the concerns that we expressed here tonight.
Okay.
So that's the motion. Is
I
there a
second that.
There's a second. Is there any further discussion from council? Any comments? You'd like to-
okay, so we're going to have June 16th, we're going to have the first reading. Well, we're going to reconvene.
Reconvene the public hearing.
Reconvene the public hearing. And then we're going to, are we having the first reading that day? Or are we extending it to a different day?
It would be that day. We would make a decision at that point.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we would make
These two
a-
action items would be back on
Right.
before you
Okay.
that day.
Hopefully, we have more
Okay,
information.
I'm
Right,
just
wait.
trying to let people
Right.
know, because it's been going on for
Sure,
such a long
it has been.
time.
Sure, and-
So I just
But-
want to make.
But that would be the day
that
where it
clear.
would be decided if this project is going to move forward or not.
Okay,
we'll do that.
In
all
that,
right.
in that meantime, we're going to get information
Right.
of the questions that were posed here.
Absolutely.
City staff will work on that and bring
Okay.
that information to us.
Okay, just wanted to
Any
make
other
clear to
comments? Yes,
everybody.
Mayor, I have one more comment to add to, so we can vote on this, but also, property value's been brought up a few different times. Is there any chance we can seek some expertise on that? I would just be curious, not being a real estate expert myself. Some have said it goes up and it adds value, others say it goes down, but
Yes.
is there any way we can get anything other than anecdotal
George.
comments on that? So once again, I think with respect to the residents around there, we can, and I know that's a very subjective, maybe difficult,
It may be difficult.
but
Have an idea, though.
in
You're
the
right.
time frame we have, I would rather have some professionals, and I know Mr. Goyle himself and wife are happen to be real estate professionals, so it doesn't mean I don't believe, some of the testimony, but again, we're far apart. I'd like to get some, maybe third-party expertise on that.
I think that's a fabulous idea. I really do.
I think maybe appraisers often use hazard reports.
Give me a break.
That's also another item that maybe we can look at, a hazard report, just to see if the sort of impacts it could create, so.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the motion, there's a second to that. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all very much for your patience and for your contribution to tonight's public hearing. We're going to move on to the next item, and that's regular business. 5A, discussion potential action to approve contract extensions for professional auditing services for fiscal years June 30th, 2015 and 2016.
Let them clear.
I hope so.
I make a motion to approve item 5A.
I second that motion.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say
Aye.
aye.
Thank you,
Thank
Ruby.
you. Next,
Councilmember.
Rosanna, we're in the middle of taking a vote, so. Next
I said
item on the
yes.
agenda is
I meant-
regular
oh, she
business
said
B.
yes. I said yes, I was going-
Okay, we'll accept that.
Yes.
Making sure.
Yes.
Regular business
I
B.
can work with that.
Discussion and potential action to approve accounting services proposal for Moss Levy Arts time for accounting services for year ending closing activities and financial statement preparation. Make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Yes, we've discussed these items.
Yes. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is discussion, staff direction, selection, and prioritization of street lighting styles for the Main Street Lighting Project, phases 1, 2, and 3. This item I would like some time to discuss.
I'm going to bring in our display boards. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
I'll
Yeah,
get
just
it.
bring them in.
Go ahead. Okay, I'll start.
Start the thing.
Okay, good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. Yasmin Arellano, Public Works Director. Let me load up the presentation for the light selection. The approved fiscal year budget for 2014-2015, our current fiscal year, authorized $300,000 for the Phase 1, thank you, for the Main Street Lighting Phase 1. Next year's budget for 15-16, we're proposing the funding Phase 2 in the amount of $300,000 also. At the beginning of this fiscal year, the city entered into a design agreement with SOMAS for all 3 phases of the project. To date, SOMAS has researched the existing utilities, mapped existing topography, and coordinated with IID for existing demands. We're currently at the step that we need to select the exact type of light. There are 2 types of lights. As shown on the screen, we have the pendant type, which is the taller type, and we also have the acorns. The pendant type is what staff's recommending tonight, at a height of approximately 20 to 25 feet, which is the existing height that we have currently on Main Street. According to SOMAS, we can also utilize the acorn type at a taller version, which is a 15 to 16 foot type, but only on the plazas, streets because of street width. To give you kind of like a sense of a scale, it's showing the pendant at 20 to 25 feet, and then the current size of the acorn, the current size is about half. So what SOMAS was proposing, if we wanted to go with the acorn type, was a 3/4 of the acorn, so 3/4 of the pendant, basically.
Which would be
right.
about where that arrow, well, maybe a little
That is
lower than
correct.
that second arrow.
As mentioned, the staff's recommendation, it's for the pendant type, but I wanted to show you that there was also another option for the plazas. If we go to the, you can see I took this from the title page from our downtown specific plan, and you can see the lights, the original lights, and right there in the middle of Main Street. This is Main Street before the city installed the median. Right.
On the wire,
Is that
right?
Sam at the drugstore?
When he was 2.
It was more like that in Pete's on that
My
side.
town. Yeah. I remember all of that.
You coming out of the hotel done like this?
I remember all of that. Yeah.
Okay, so moving into this is staff's preference, and like I mentioned, which is the type A, which is this one. And the reason for that is because of the resemblance to the original street light.
Street light, yeah.
This was, we selected from about 56 types of lights. The second,
That one's ugly.
the second selection was something similar, which is this one, type B.
Looks of Mars like they have ears or something.
Right, and we were concerned because of the possibility of bird nesting.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then this is the other one that was really popular also, which is a type E2, which is a little bit Western type.
I like them.
So as I mentioned, staff's recommendation is A, but we have the 3 that we can
Is that
look
A
at.
there?
A is this one.
A is the one.
No, A is the
That
first
one?
one.
Really?
That
Yes.
Now, wouldn't the birds nest around that round part? You talk about
Probably,
birds.
probably not the other one because it has like the hooks. So they could nest. This one they would slide, I would say. But
Slide off. But I don't know. They're
like
gonna
I said,
nest on any of them.
this is just staff's recommendation. We would like council's input
Sure.
on the selection, please.
Is there a preference from council on, we'll take a poll. Councilmember Noriega, which one do you prefer?
Or could we do 1, 2, 3? What's
Yeah,
our
sure.
first, second, and third?
What would
What's
you
your first,
say is
second,
your
and
first
third?
choice? If we're gonna go with the pendant recommendation, which is the taller ones, which would you
Are we
choose?
gonna go 1, 2, 3?
Well, we'll start with
Wow.
Councilmember Noriega
Alright.
to see what she,
Okay.
all the pressure's on you. Nope.
Okay. I like 2. Number 2, in the middle?
Wait, careful, careful, careful. Careful,
You
careful.
like that for the first one?
There's risk.
She was trying to be.
Risk.
You know what? There wasn't enough light here for her to see.
We got it on camera.
So, yeah,
We
yeah.
got that one on camera, can we get
So that would be my first choice. This is my second, and I don't even like that third one.
Okay, so,
Okay.
all right.
Okay.
All right, so that's your first and that's your second.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Councilmember Couchman, what would you say is
It's
your
a
first
hard
choice?
decision. I don't really like the third one, so we
Okay.
can eliminate that.
Okay, well, we haven't gotten through the whole. Yeah, we haven't
I
gotten
don't really
there.
like that
You know,
one.
just for
Throw
that,
one
we might
away.
all say
Yeah,
we
you
like
might
that
all
just
like
to
that.
mess with
I
you.
don't know that it makes any difference.
It does.
They all look pretty nice. I mean,
Remember, we're making a decision that's going to change the landscape for
the entire
decades.
city for decades to come, right. What do we have over at the bus stop?
Are the solar lights?
They're different.
Panels,
They're different.
solar panels?
Yeah.
They're different than these. These are more historical, these are better looking.
Fancy.
Councilmember Noriega is very quick to point out that's one, that's two. So, Councilmember Couchman?
I'm thinking that we get more light out of this one over here than we do out of that one.
So you would say that's
So I
your
would think
first?
that's
Okay.
my first
Okay.
choice,
All
and
right.
that's my.
So we've narrowed it down to two, I think. And
third,
Councilmember Campbell?
I agree with Helen.
Okay,
I take
so,
two and three, okay.
so 2 and 3. And I'll go to Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're going with the taller because of the banner.
I think
Obviously,
that's
with the
better. I
shorter,
think
we
the
couldn't
better
hang the
with banners
banners.
is better,
And just so I'm saying the same thing, 2 is the one we're considering.
middle.
Are you considering, let's start here. Are you
Yeah,
considering
I like
this
the
one
middle.
here?
I like the
You
one in
don't-
the middle.
Not that one's
No,
voted out.
That's
Okay.
it.
All right.
It's that couple, it's kind of,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm a little concerned about there.
Okay.
So yeah, 2 and 3, I would say. Is that right?
So-
The one in the
so-
middle?
So that would be
Two
your.
and one.
2 and 1.
Yeah, 2 and 1.
Okay,
sorry.
we're confusing each other. You prefer that one there in the middle?
The one in the middle, I like that.
You prefer
style.
that one? Okay, all
got
right.
it.
So that's 3 votes for that one, right? And right now, I'm the wild card. I could make it even. I could make it an even.
Pressure.
Yeah,
No, you know,
pressure.
I do prefer that one in the middle.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
That's
Yeah.
fine with me, I don't think it,
I think I'll say this though, Sam.
don't care.
I'll say this. They're all really nice. So
They're all nice, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see any problem with them.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is, talking to the city manager, and I think staff has talked about it, I think it's a good idea to look at North and South Plaza and do the medium later, because if
Right.
council decide to do something different
Yes.
with Main Street, and
Then we might need to
Good
do
point.
something.
Okay.
I
Do you
think
have a
that's a
quick
good
update
idea.
on the phasing plan?
I'll
already did it on the
make the
medium?
motion. I'll make the motion to approve the selection from council. Number, is that 2? Number 2?
E2.
E2.
Second.
Public comment.
There's a
Yeah,
second.
do the public have,
Why we have the public
take a look
comment
at
on
it?
them too.
They're beautiful.
They're beautiful. You commenting for the public?
Christopher, you have a comment here?
I'll defer to Margaret.
I have a comment,
Sure.
Okay.
and it's not about sweeping my street.
Uh-oh.
You want us to sweep your street too?
No, you've been doing a good job.
Oh,
Good.
thank you.
Oh, good.
Sam's been out there.
I would just like to say that this particular one that you seem to be favoring matches the pendant lights that are hanging around the library and the interior of the finance department
Well, that
So-
convinces me.
around the fountain.
So
That's
Sam's
why
been
we have you
convinced.
here.
I'm
Sam's been
convinced.
convinced
I'll go
he's on
along
your
with
side
everybody.
now.
I've changed my
but-
mind.
But that's, I just wanted to point that out for aesthetics.
Thank you,
Oh,
Roger.
thank you.
Thank
So is
you
that,
very much.
which
Thank
one
you.
would you choose
See?
if you had to?
Women always know
one? Which
decorative
Oh, that
stuff.
one? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
That's why
Women
See,
always
I
know
knew I was
decorative.
gonna be wrong. I knew you guys were gonna
right.
throw me to
No,
the wolves,
Sam.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it.
Women always know better when it comes to decorating
Yeah, I
things,
know.
man.
I agree. I don't have any you won't get any disagreement.
Yeah. You're on
Our
court.
next public comment, yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat what Sam said. I have 2 concerns. One is I think this should be put more to public knowledge rather than a decision made right now. I know you want to move forward with this really quickly, and that's always a good thing, but I would like some more people to have an opportunity to say, oh, maybe I like 3, maybe I like 6, which is not even here right now. Number 2 is would be more concerned about having something that resembled the transfer center lights, because I think you would want some consistency between that and the rest of the city, at least in the downtown area. At least let people know that this is downtown versus what you would plan to do on the east side or west side in the future. the money's right. Those would be my two concerns, is that you have some consistency and that you put it more to a public vote and just not settle on 2, 1, 3, 6, 4,
Sure.
1.
And we appreciate that comment. But it has been vetted out by city staff for quite some time and our engineering firm that we've contracted. So certainly I don't want to make you feel like it's being decided. I know we're being jovial and lighthearted about it, but we've given it very, very careful consideration. So thank you for your comment.
In addition, I just wanted to make a comment that these are street lights. They're not pedestrian lights.
Right.
Whatever's at the transit station doesn't meet our street light standard.
Wouldn't be the same. It's not
Our funding source restricts it to
Right.
safety lighting
Right.
for street purposes.
Thank you for that clarification.
And you have to protect the stars.
So there's a
And I
motion.
think protecting the stars is a good idea, too.
There's a motion for the selection of E2. There's a second to that motion. Is there any other discussion by council? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for the comments. I appreciate that.
Noriega lighting. Noriega lighting.
Wait till our
You win.
Christmas lights come on.
The next item on the agenda is regular business D, discussion potential action regarding American Citizens Club request to sell and consume alcohol on city properties described as Hinojosa Park and Gonzalez Park, Saturday, June 6, 2015, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
I have it.
So if we can have
Okay.
that. Yes, please.
Yes. Well, you stated that the subject is sale and consumption of alcohol at Hinojosa Park. What I should have started to say was, good evening, Mayor, Councilman, and staff.
Great.
Sorry about that. But yes, Mr. Nava, that is the issue. And the sale and consumption request by American Citizen Club, also known as the ACC, is proposed as part of the women's softball tournament on Saturday, June 6th, between the hours of 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. This event is a fundraiser for a nonprofit organization, building fund, and for tournament trophies. If approved, they must meet the guidelines of the city.
And it's for 2 days, all right? For
It's-
June the 6th and 7th?
They've changed it to 1 day. Is that
Okay, it's a
correct?
one-day event
Is it
with
one
two
day?
locations?
It's now 1 day?
1 day.
Just one day.
Two
June the
locations?
6th.
No.
correct?
No, it's not one
No,
day.
it's 2
You changed it
days
back?
at Hinojosa, now only Hinojosa Park, I believe.
Okay, we need clarification on that. Yeah,
I'm
please.
sorry, Gracie
We
Fernandez,
need
I'm sorry.
clarification.
I came in at the last minute, so I was kind of confused and in a rush when I talked to Pat, who was very, very helpful, I want to add. Your staff's been very helpful at your office. The tournament playoffs will be on Saturday, June 6th, and that is the only day that we're asking for permission to
June
sell
6th.
alcohol.
For the
Okay.
alcohol,
There-
okay.
The final game will be on Sunday, but there will be no alcohol on that day.
And for clarification, the games will take place at both parks, or is it just one where you're requesting alcohol?
Only Hinojosa Park.
Only
We only
Hinojosa.
want
Only
one park.
Hinojosa.
Makes a difference.
I think there was some concern just based on the fact that we generally don't make those approvals when it's not a city-sponsored event. But I know ACC's been, in existence there for quite some time, a good community partner. I would like for council to consider approving this item with a little bit of a restriction in having a designated area for drinking to where it's not fully open to the public. And generally, what we require is a security guard at the location. So if that is something that can be accommodated, I think that would be
And-
what I would suggest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and staff's been, like I said, Pat's been very, very helpful, if I can call you Pat. You can. I understand that, we have other requirements to meet,
Right.
meeting with the police department. We fully intend to meet, all those requirements. And should we, not be able to meet one of them, then I fully intend that we would not have the alcohol.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Then, Mr. Mayor, I'd like, unless there's further discussion.
I think my concern in looking at this was the security issue as it relates to minors' access, and
Right.
also, if they're going to drink all day, which I don't think there'll be a lot of people drinking at 8 a.m. in the morning, if they're going to drink all day, I think there needs to be adequate security on site, and I would look to the police department to give them some guidelines on what they would need and what the police department needs. I like the fact that it's going back to one park and 1 day, because
Sure.
that makes a big difference in terms to city staff, and I think to our public safety staff, in terms of what they can do. When you confine it to one park, one area, I think that's much safer in my mind. And I know that when we do this, we kind of set a precedent. We're starting to open it up a little bit more than what we've done in the past, and so I know this sets a precedent for us, because we traditionally have not done this at settings other than cattle call and where we have been a major sponsor of the event. And so I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I just think it needs to be controlled very, very well, because you can run into some problems.
And I agree, and that's the reason that like I said, ACC's been a strong community supporter, and they've also, been very active in helping the community, so I'd like to support them as well. And if we can limit the location by having a beer garden and by having security, I think that would address the concerns that at least that I have.
So let me state this. So the beer garden is at one field. They're playing at two fields, but the beer garden's at one field.
The event is proposed for a single day at one location, which is Hinojosa Park.
Correct.
On the 6th.
Yep. That's what they're
It's
saying.
changed.
That's what I
since
The beer
they
sales
changed.
would take.
So on Sunday, they're not playing?
They're
On
playing,
Sunday
but they're not
playing,
selling
but
beer.
no beer.
Exactly, that's what I
So
said.
no council authorization needed for day 2.
Right, exactly. Okay.
And I think, just so we make things clear, as Councilmember Compton mentioned, and I mentioned to the city manager today, I think we need to take case by case when we approve these kind of items, because we don't give just a blanket approval to do this for any other occasion. So I think it's a good fundraiser. The ACC does do things for the kids at Christmas and toy giveaways and bike drives and that thing. So
scholarships.
And it's a nonprofit. It's not a for-profit entity.
So I totally agree. We should support this event.
Just wanted to talk.
Just for the record, your ordinance requires council to take it case by case.
That's right.
Yes, and that's what we want.
If you say yes today, doesn't mean you can't say no tomorrow.
Right.
I would make a motion to approve the item, but making sure that they have security, and there is a beer garden location that restricts the consumption of alcohol.
Second.
For June 6th. So there's a second.
One other comment that I want to make was that I think this might be better just to have it, because I think people are going to drink beer on the site anyway.
No.
And so I know we enforced that from the police department side, but I'm pretty sure people are drinking beer. At least this exercises a little bit more control over that.
Sure.
And it may be a little bit better for the overall.
And not just that, but it's also a benefit to them as well, because it's a fundraiser.
And then they can make some money.
They can.
I agree. So, yeah, I have no
set the
problem.
rule. So there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank
opposed?
you. Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, and good luck with your fundraiser.
Thank you.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is monthly staffing report, departmental report 6A by Shirley Bonias.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. Shirley Bonias, Personnel and Risk Management. On page 177 is the monthly staffing report. We have made progress. We did hire a utility worker, which will be introduced to council next meeting. We are in the final stages of reorging a little bit of the planning department from a planning secretary, which is currently vacant. We're obtaining the signatures so we can put forth the possibility of a planning technician. Once that's approved, that will be posted. I anticipate that will happen this month. We are going to be having a vacancy for a short period of time due to medical leave in the finance department, so we're looking at hiring a temporary worker to assist out in utility billing. We are still in backgrounds on a few officers, police officers, and the call paid. We should be able to finalize that in May as well. And the part-time supervisory clerk in the library, we're doing a second interview. So that should be concluded this week as well. And we opened all the summer jobs. Okay. So we have a lot of foot traffic into the building, a lot of young people. And how do I fill out this? A lot of counseling, resume, that type of stuff. Okay. So we're very busy in personnel.
Thank you for that update.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley.
Next item on the agenda is 6B, monthly building report. I reviewed it. Any questions from council?
No.
No.
Good. Lots of building permits in March.
of permits.
So
Thank you, Mr.
fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, lots of buildings.
Next item on the agenda, city council member reports. We'll start with Councilmember Noriega.
Well, on Friday, I took a trip Friday, Saturday, came back Sunday. But before I left, they were setting up the popcorn at the arts festival that they normally have. Unfortunately, I didn't get to stay and watch it all, but I was told from my coworkers, because they had to work Saturday and Sunday, that it turned out really nice. They went over there and had some food. So from them, they say it turned out nice. Went to the Economic Summit in Heber and got to go to the Joy restaurant, I believe it was, or
Joy Seafood and Grill?
Yes. We didn't have seafood. We had Mexican food. Can you believe that? Well, go figure, yeah. But all in all, the summit, again, talked about the energy. The county was there, IID was there, Mr. Nava was there, Mayor Nava was there, sorry. So it wasn't as big as our summit at the Q, but I have to say they were very informative. We're going to be looking, some people don't like the solar part, but in the end, this is probably what we're all going to have on our houses, on our business, to save us energy. And that was it.
Thank you for that report. Councilmember Couchman.
Yes, I attended IBROP Dancing with the Stars Gala, which provides scholarships countywide. It was a big event, 500 plus people, really good event, real formalized event at the country club. It was really nice. I also attended the local county meeting that they had here last Tuesday, and that was a neat meeting to have them here, and I thought it went well, and they liked our chambers. Some of the staff told me they liked our chambers. Very low-key, pretty neat meeting, and everything, I think, went well there. And it was a kind of a special meeting, so they didn't discuss everything. They did discuss some solar issues, and they also discussed some other things about services being delivered here in Brawley. I think it's important for that word to get out to all the people, that they have the social services, they have the mental health services, they have all of those types of things available here in Brawley, at least to a large extent, the same county services that are delivered in El Centro. And so I think that's important that they're able to come out and do it here regionally, as opposed to, say, one specific location. So that's good. They talked about the building that I formerly was in as a director at the county, over here, the old Vogels, and there's some work that's going to be done there. But as they move more county staff in, we have opportunities to create more business for the downtown area and for Brawley as a whole. I think that's important. I attended a Rotary function at Inferno. We had our spring festival there, very nice event, very nice place, and overall very nice event for us at Rotary. And so I think it's important that we spread the wealth around within the city of Brawley, and that we do things in different areas and see what's out there and see what's available. Also, Airport Chamber Mixer, Reach, sponsored that, I believe. It looked like a neat chamber mixer. I had to run to the Rotary function. I stayed there an hour or so. Really nice function. I saw some pictures and everything, so that went very, very well. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councilmember Couchman. Councilmember Campbell.
Just a couple of things. I also attended the mixer that Reach sponsored, and I want to say, Donnie, you guys did a good job. Even though Donnie was a little under the weather, he was there. He participated.
I think you meant under the influence.
We almost flew him out of
a lot of medication.
We almost flew him out of the Reach helicopter.
Yeah. I better right there.
No, but it went really well, and again, Reach
under Dr. Scott's right.
Reach represented very well. So I want to thank Donnie for him and his staff for doing that, and the Main Street festivities this weekend was really nice. A little bit warm, but I guess we're kind of used to the summer weather. So, but other than that, things are kind of calm, I guess, and looking forward to the regional conference on Thursday and Friday. I believe the mayor and myself has reserved to go to that, and I think Rosanna is going on Thursday too. So that's going to be really nice, and I believe at that event, Cheryl Villegas Walker will be recognized as the president for SCAG, which is really, really nice. I think that's going to be really nice. So looking forward to that, and I just want to thank everybody for the work they do, and ask that God continue to bless you guys and your families. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Campbell. And a point of clarification, it was under heavy doctor's care, is what it was.
That's correct. Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Morton, please.
Be quick here. Also attended the county meeting. It was a packed house, so it was kind of standing room only just about, and didn't stay for the whole thing, but again, it was what a great concept, and I hope that continues. After that, obviously, we mentioned the Brawley Business Advisory Committee meeting was mentioned very much, or many times tonight, so I'm not going to belabor that, but I do want to acknowledge that we did welcome in our 2 new committee members that certainly participated, and what a way to get started, right? Throwing them in baptism by fire, so fantastic.
That's the way to do it.
The Reach Mixer, which I do want to clarify, a little back issues, so I really want to thank Jason Zara, the chamber, all the members of the chamber that really kind of make that thing happen. And it's easy for me to, for the red shiny helicopter to show up and dress up in a flight suit and take a little credit, but it's really the chamber and certainly the city staff, and frankly made it a really great event for all of our employees that did attend. They really love to interact with the community and many times the patients they serve. So fantastic event, and I do want to thank the mayor also really stepping in as sort of the MC and making the event special. So Reach was very appreciative. But once again, couldn't do it without really everyone that I just mentioned. I hope I'm not leaving somebody out. So again, that's how those things work. And then kind of my final mention, and it's a little bit selfish, but I'm just throwing it out there, and I'll do it one more time this month, but my older son will be on an airplane tomorrow morning with the football team heading to the White House, and I'll be receiving the Commanders-in-Chief's trophy. It's the official ceremony for beating Army and Navy. I'm really mentioning that in honor of Veteran Appreciation. Oh, thank you. Go Air Force. But nothing wrong with that, but in honor of Veterans Appreciation Month, I figured I'd mention that, and obviously very proud, so thank you.
Congratulations to you and your son, your family.
My dad was in Air Force.
There you go. Well, I'll keep it brief, but I did meet with the Film Commission. You heard some of the update that Charlotte provided, but there's a number of filming projects out in the county, many happening in the north end, so excited to see that, and you're going to start to see more and more projects come through here. We're making tremendous efforts there, and Charlotte is working very closely with these production companies, so I'm happy to see those projects come forward. Also had an ICTC Transportation Commission meeting that I participated in. The Reach Mixer at the airport was great. It's great to see Reach and, of course, our firefighters out there and city staff that helped organize that. Also gave us an opportunity to highlight some of the improvements that we've made at the airport over the past couple of years and staff's worked on to get grant funding for, so I appreciate all of those efforts. I thought the video that was made by Spectrum was fantastic, and it featured a lot of what we talked about. And it was great to hear pilots talk about how important those improvements are for them. So it was it's good for certainly for business and for us as a city. The Economic Summit was also we were there. Councilmember Noriega and our city manager was there as well, and we got to hear some of the things. There were some pretty good presentations, and I enjoyed them, and hope to see that again. Also met with the CEO of California Ethanol and Power, and they have a project that's outside of Brawley, and we talked about a few things that they're working on. It's about a $550 million project. It has been approved by the county. They're in the process now of securing funding, and they have some hope of doing that in the near future, so I hope to see that move forward. I think overall there's potential for about 200 to 300 jobs, permanent positions, that would be well-paying jobs, and so there's a lot of hope. And for those of you not aware of what ethanol fuel is used for, I mean, you see flex fuel vehicles and those sorts of things. So, and it's big. That industry was able to turn Brazil around in about a decade. So, I think it's got tremendous potential. Watched a Pacquiao fight on Saturday. Very disappointed by the results and really by the fight itself. And it just was a sad day for me that day. But aside from that, also came to the County Board of Supervisors meeting and made a comment in support of a project that Councilmember Couchman is working with. But I also stated the fact that, I don't think that solar projects are a good use of ag land, and placing them on ag land is not something that I would suggest doing in the future. But since that project had been approved, I offered my support for it, and I hope to see that move forward. I just want to thank you all very much for your patience and sitting through this long meeting. I know it's a lot to discuss tonight, and there's some issues and concerns with the housing project, mobile homes, and RVs. but it's something that hasn't come before us in the past, at least since I've been here on council. This is the first time that I've seen it, and maybe the first time you've seen it. Yeah, so that's almost 12 years, and so
But we'll get it worked out, right, Mayor?
well, we'll certainly evaluate it carefully, and we'll make a decision based on the information that we receive. So it's not an easy decision, that's for sure. If it was a traditional housing project, it wouldn't even come before us. I mean, it would just would be approved. But at any rate, thank you all very much. We'll move on to the city manager's report.
Just briefly want to thank you for your support of the AC replacement project at the library. Unfortunately, we have some other units that will be coming your way in the not-so-distant future for replacement. They are 2 aged ACs at the senior center and 1 in the conference room of the former meeting location for the council at the Lion Center. We are doing our best to relocate activities to the best climate-controlled spaces, but as you know, because public bidding processes are required, we're doing everything we can, coordinating between our building official, who's preparing the scopes of work, and our Public Works Department, who, because we're over 5,000, we're subject to the Public Contract Code and all of the document preparation that goes with it. So we're trying our best to hit the streets with this advertisement and have an item before the council for approval, and certainly thank each of you for being understanding about kind of being on the back end of a curve of aged units at our facilities.
Is there any way that we could, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, is there any way that we could, when we do a bid process, set up something like they do at LA or whatever, where they do, where we have a contractor that bids, and then we can, a service agreement, well, not a service agreement, but an agreement where we can make multiple purchases in the future if we have to from the same provider at, say, the same price. Is there any way to do that? I mean, I don't know if that's doable or not, but.
I'd have to look into that.
Or on an emergency basis, could we, is there a way to piggyback on an agreement or some type of bid process where we could do that, rather than having to go out for bid for a month or 2 on each unit as they go bad in the summer? Is there an emergency process that we can take to shorten that? I would like to look at that.
We will review that further. Sadly, all of these units are in the 14 to 15 year. I mean, they're scheduled to go, and we just haven't been in replacement mode. It's more a failure mode.
Yeah. Right.
When it fails, then we are faced with replacement.
And the service contract, we discussed that.
Yeah,
right?
the AC maintenance,
We did
and that will
discuss
be the
AC.
direction we had in our next fiscal year.
So are we going to be able to get those, you're talking about the Lions Center, we're lacking 2 there?
Well,
One?
Senior, okay, so what is an awarded contract with a notice to proceed is the 2 large units, in addition to the 2 from last year. That work is underway, and I'm hoping we get the project delivered. We've encountered some bumps in the road with our contractor, and we're working through them. We should know here shortly whether we are successful with the execution of that project.
I understand.
The 2 AC units that I'm referencing in my comments, one is a small unit, one's a larger at the senior center, and the other is a unit that only serves, it would be the northwest small meeting space at the Lion Center, and that's the replacement unit that's in the next scope of work. Okay, and then last but not least, next council meeting, you'll also see the window replacement project coming forward for the fire station. That'll be an award, a recommended award of contract, but want to just let you know that unfortunately our cost estimates were not consistent with what the bid amount, because we encountered some lead on premises, and so the cost has increased, and we'll be coming to you with a budget adjustment as well as a request to award the contract. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Our treasurer, our city. Thank you. City attorney.
The big news is that the receiver has a buyer for J Street. There's a couple details that have to be ironed out. They expect to hopefully iron them out next week, and then he will, the receiver, will make a motion to the court to approve the sale. This process won't be very much like it will be like a probate, because the judge orders to use those same procedures, so interested buyers can come and try to bid in court. They have all the little mini auction in court.
Wow.
I've seen it only
Yeah,
once
at least
where
maybe longer.
bidders have showed up, but I have seen
Ridiculous.
it.
It's
So
just the way it is.
that's that. The bidder, the buyer will have to post the bond and submit to the jurisdiction of the court to make sure that once it's bought, it will be cleaned up. And the buyer's a local, I don't know if he's Brawley or Imperial, but he's a well-established income property developer. And the receiver's not bound by the same low bid type stuff that cities are, and he rejected the high bid because of the reputation of the high bidder. So we went to the next highest bidder who has a better reputation.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
Thank you for your report.
So, I'm sorry, so we're looking at how much longer? I mean, it's just, I wish we would have been able to clean it up at least to some degree where.
Well, cleanup is $30,000. The bid to buy was 47. So it would double the cost. Yeah, no, it took a long time. This was an issue when I was an associate at Horton Knox, and if I was assigned to it, it would have been done by now. The other thing is, you're all invited, May 29th is the gallery night and silent auction at Del Rio Country Club, and I'll have printed invitations by next meeting.
Thank you.
May 29th, 6 to 9:30.
29th.
And Capital 64 will be playing them.
There we go. And so they can't say they didn't perform in Brawley again. All right. Thank you for the report. City Clerk? Nothing to report. All right. I want to thank everybody for your patience tonight. Thank you for participating. We're going to take a quick 3-minute break and come back into closed session, please.
Jay, what's the deal, man?